Hey everyone, Harry here to talk about the report that Jack Smith is not going to seek to do a mini hearing in the January 6th case. Let me set this up a little bit more. Recall that the Supreme Court had its expansive immunity decision and seemed to really leave. Well, first it took many months, and then it left not a lot of room, or it's unclear, and Judge Chutkan is going to have to decide, as will Jack Smith, how to proceed with the court's pretty cryptic and pretty expansive guidance. Now, in the wake of that decision, there were a lot of credible, well-respected folks who said, hey, even if the court has taken up too much time now for there to be a trial, maybe there could be an evidentiary hearing, and Judge Chutkan could consider in determining what is consistent with the Supreme Court decision evidence, like, for example, most notably, Mike Pence. Could Mike Pence come to the stand and say, here's what happened, and Chutkan would be looking and assessing that evidence in making the decision whether or not to permit that evidence. And in that way, there would be a kind of a glass half full result, according to these folks, because there would still be evidence presented in advance of the election of some of Trump's more notorious behavior. So I was always a naysayer here, and I thought for a couple reasons. First, I didn't think the courts would countenance it. The Supreme Court opinion is really expansive, but as one of its most expansive points is it says you can't even use evidence of conduct that could be immune under federal law, and implied strongly that that would include, for example, discussions between Trump and Pence as president and vice president. They offered a potential out for Pence acting in his capacity as head of the president of the Senate, but that's not really what it was about when Trump was whipsawing him and telling him he had to do these things, etc. So it always seemed likely to me that there was a chicken-egg problem, that if Jack Smith came forward and tried to offer this evidence, that Trump would jump up and down and say, you can't do that because it's evidence of immunized conduct that can't be used, and that whatever Chutkan did, there would be an immediate appeal because it's a question of immunity, which is sort of the right not to be tried in the first place or heard in the first place. And I thought there wasn't going to be room for a mini trial. In addition, I thought it was unlikely that the DOJ would want to do it. They're not focused on getting out the information before the election. They're focused on doing right by the prosecution. And it's anomalous, to say the least, for a prosecutor to play his hand openly in a way that gives the defense a real preview of what the charges would be. So the current report is indeed Jack Smith doesn't, this is supposedly by anonymous sources, but that Jack Smith has decided not to seek a mini trial or an evidentiary hearing. Now, to the extent it suggests that he was really thinking about it and made a decision, I think it's overstated. As I say, I don't think it was ever really in the cards. And even had he wanted to pursue it, I don't think it would ever have actually come to fruition. I think whatever Judge Chutkan said, let's say Judge Chutkan said, well, we can consider what Pence said to Trump, there would be an immediate appeal, and from there, potential appeal to the Supreme Court, and the court could both rule for Trump, but also just it would take up a fair bit of time. So I just never saw it as a tenable possibility. And now, so the report is they're not going to do it. So, little by little, I think people came to realize it was not so likely and they held out hope mainly because it was a way to maybe get some of the, evidence that would be, for a lesser included version of the trial that everyone had hoped could occur before November. And will not be occurring before November. So that was the big refrain in the wake of the immunity opinion. Maybe we'll get a mini evidentiary hearing. Here's how it would work. We would still get this evidence in front of the American people. And now the report is pretty straightforward that Jack Smith doesn't intend to do it. And I think it's a prudent conclusion because even if he had wanted to, unusually enough, kind of give a preview of his hand so that what American people could have the evidence before the election, I think he would have been shut down, if not before, by the U.S. Supreme Court. So after all the discussion, no mini evidentiary hearing. I, pat myself on the back or whatever for seeing it this way and predicting that it really wouldn't occur. And I think it's now considered a dead letter. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.